this is the last assignment of the 5S assignments. We're going to consolidate the last 3 S's together because they really it's going to be challenging to do these ones because it usually takes a little bit of time progressed beyond what we have right now to fully get the grasp of these. But here we go, the last 3 S's. The first one, if you're seeing here, I'm going to walk you through how to answer these questions on the Google document if that wasn't clear already. So here we go. The third step of the 5S method is called either sweep or shine. They could be called interchangeably, sweep and shine. What's the importance of that one? Well, the idea being is if you actually use a broom to sweep, and this is supposed to bring up the idea of cleaning the area. I'm back in the school here, you can see, I guess is a fitting conclusion to this one. My desk here is a lot messier than my desk at home. So I'll just demonstrate here in the sense. I've got a set of micrometers here. During the sweep step, if this was located on my desk and had a place, the idea being is that on a daily basis, what you would do is you would go through and clean and lay hands on the items. You would come up with a routine of cleaning the space where you were working. Now, through the process of wiping it down and actually cleaning it off, okay, you are going to make your space look nice and professional, okay? And in addition to that, you're going to be able to identify, you're going to be able to do preventative maintenance to keep these items lasting and running longer, and you're going to be able to identify if they are broken or need replacement in some sort of way, so you can address that. And it's not going to be a surprise. You're going to be able to actively go, oh, we need to do something to keep this running correctly, right? So that's the really important part behind the third step in the 5S method. Now, moving on to the fourth one, this comes back again to the standardized concept, the do, plan, check, act problem solving. It's built into the 5S method here as we're going to standardize. So again, it's going to think, so the fourth step then is through the standardization there. Okay. Now I want you to think of the project that you actually did in your home to answer this. How do you think you will reuse what you've learned in this idea, in this assignment, in other areas of our home and life, right? So hopefully from going through this process, you're going to go, oh yeah, well, you know, the labeling of items, especially maybe even in the kitchen or in the garage, like where things go, was a great standardized way to approach that we could take throughout the entire house or somewhere else, right? So that's going to be up to you to think about what worked well on your particular project, okay, that you took on and how you're going to apply that at home, okay? Now, the final 5th step of the 5S process. I'm probably going to change camera modes here and we can go walk about the shop and take a look at some things here. But I want you to think in a deeper one here. The 5th step is what's called sustainment. So first you may need to think about what the word sustain actually means. But let me take a moment here. We're going to swap over to the walking camera setup here, okay? And we'll take a look about the shop since we are actually here right now. So cool. Cameras flipped around, safety glasses for safety. So the 5th S in the typical 5S methodology is the sustainment step. Now, what does it mean to sustain something? You can Google look up what the definition of sustain is one way of doing it, or I could say that, you know, sustaining something is keeping it viable over time, like healthy and ongoing perpetually, keep going on and on and on, and that it will keep its relative state pretty consistently. So its state of cleanliness will be sustained ideally. Now you're just seeing the early phases of the shop. This space you hopefully will all have been familiar with. This is the machine shop side, and you can see that I am in the early phases right now of really trying to 5S here in the shop. I'm not very far along, okay? But what I wanted you to answer and ask yourself on that questionnaire that I gave you is, what do you think it's going to take to sustain the improvements that you've seen at home? Well, if it's just personally in your personal space, it's going to come down to kind of your self-discipline, right? Okay, is one way to answer it. It's going to be up to you, how well you want to commit to actually maintaining that space and keeping it work and function. Okay, I'm now coming out to the other metalworking area outside the shop. You can again see where I've been trying to sort stuff. Ooh, you can see kind of a shadow boarded thing there that's been started by a student previously. Now, as I walk through the shop here, The other question I wanted to ask you, with our standardized welding booths and our piles of messes still to establish things moving forward, okay, what is it going to take to sustain the organization of this area here, this common space and very valuable lab space that we have here? What do you think is going to be involved with the long-term sustainment of that? Or if you were to work at a business, what do you think is involved in sustaining the organizational and operational goodness of a company? Well, for one, it's going to take the commitment of the guy at the top to really embrace that and want it to happen, because ultimately there's an owner of a company or there's shareholders of a company or something like that that are really going to have to embrace this system and make use of it continuously or not. But there also has to be buy-in from the entire level, all levels of the company. And at Oak Ridge, who else do you think must buy into the sustainment efforts or the 5S efforts here in the shop? Well, who's supposed to be using this shop and benefiting from its resources? That should be a pretty easy question to answer. Now, what's going to be involved with that? Well, there's lots of training involved with how to make a system like this run effectively. That comes in the educational environment down to me, but also companies are responsible. Every company kind of handles things slightly differently, but training is a big factor of maintaining the sustainability of your organizational system, okay, in general. A sense of ownership from everybody, not just the guy even up at the top, but each individual that has to operate out there has to see the value. Again, we get back to that word value of what's laid out to eliminate defects, save you time, cut down on waiting, extra inventory and all the rest of that. There's some other methods to take care of that. But specifically, the whole reduction in errors or scrap, work like that. And hey, shoot, I'm wasting all this time because there's supposed to be an Allen wrench here and that Allen wrench is missing from my workspace, right? That is waste, okay? So missing that time. And it comes down to everybody that uses the system to sustain it. So my hope by putting all the time into this effort is those of you that are going to be returning and those of you that are departing, the seniors and some of the people that put a lot of hard effort and work into those welding booths to get them initially set up and standardized, hopefully you're going to see that pays off over the years and that this program here is going to be even more and more sustainable each and every year. Pretty cool, huh? And we brought that all the way back around. So, yes. Now, taking a look back at the document that's in the background there. The last thing was that whole safety element, right? That would be the 6th hidden and underlying step to all of them. Remember, the priority in all my classes was this, getting back to it at the very beginning of the quarter, semester, or year that we started. Safety, learning, then fun. Okay? Ideally, if you follow these steps, your operating and your working space is just going to be safer by virtue of it being more clean and organized, less things to trip over, less tools that are on the verge of breaking while you're using them, which could create hazards and dangers, okay? And that everybody's going to be able to see and know where things go back to, okay? That underlying, if you do all these things correctly, safety is going to be a virtue. Now, there are ways that you can also lay out a workstation that I'm going to be trying to do so that's the comment that I've got here. Now, the shop is quiet right now in the midst of everything that we got going on. But I really encourage, the only thing that's going to maintain this program and its stability and its sustainability is your all's ability to follow behind and help to set these systems in place that makes this space more usable. Because we have a lot of cool projects we can do, lots and lots of cool things we can do. But the foundational organization and our ability to make use of our space using these methods to problem solve and do all that, only going to make things better. So I really hope that you all have had a good time working on these projects at home. A lot of the submissions I've seen have been really awesome and amazing. It's been very cool to see you all go from your before and after images and the improvements that you've been able to make at home that hopefully will be lasting for you and things that you can use in your future life and make use of at home. So it's been really a lot of work to get these together, but it's been well worth it. I look forward to seeing all the rest of the submissions and what all you get away from this. And yeah, there we go. Good job. I teach high school. I'm a professional at putting children to sleep. What's the difference between being a father and a high school teacher? When I'm teaching my high schoolers, I get paid to put them to sleep. Bet you haven't slept this good in Mr. Foreman's class before. You really have like keyboard marks all over your face. Woo. Oh no! Shh, back to sleep. Shh, it's all just a dream. It's all just your imagination. Shh. You're okay. Good night, TV. Go back to sleep. Yeah, I'm a terrible father. Oh, hi. Wake. Oh. Well. Mm-hmm.